Hi everybody, it's Rita Freecott from Picked and Polished here in Alexandria, New Hampshire, where I love to teach you how to DIY beautiful things for your home. Look at my hands. Can you tell I've been painting today? So today it's been a hot minute since I've done anything with sticky stencils. And I've got an upcoming Pick Your Own workshop going to be scheduled for November 16th. But I know a lot of you live far away from me or in other countries, so I thought it might be fun for the upcoming holiday season to show you how easy it is to create signs with these sticky vinyl stencils that I design and use. And I also make custom sticky stencils, so if you ever need anything, you can shoot me a message. But today, I'm just going to be using a stencil that I designed and cut with my Cricut. It's backwards, but cut with my Cricut and then weeded and used my transfer tape over it. So this is what I use in my workshop. So some of you might be wanting to put on workshops in your local area, and so this is what I use for those as well. So again, my name is Rita Freecott, and I'm Picked and Polished in Alexandria, New Hampshire, and I love to help you learn how to create beautiful things for your home. So we're going to just start right in today. I've got a board that's ready to go. If you're here, say hi. Hi, Lynn. How are you? Thanks for joining and hopping on. If you have a chance to share, that would be awesome because somebody out there that you know might really benefit from this video. So most of the time you'll just see my hands working today. I'm going to turn my camera down so that you can see what I'm doing. Yep, Cricuts are a great tool. Hi, Amy. Thanks for watching. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn my camera down so you can see the boards that I'm working on. I've already built a framed sign, and I've already painted the background color. I use Dixie Belle Chalk Mineral Paint, and I am a retailer, so any of the products you see me using today, mostly I'm just going to be using a couple different colors of paint, but I did use their gel stain on the frame here. You can hop on my website, and I have all my products on there. So, did you make the stencil? Yes. So, Alicia, I make stencils and I send them all over the place. So, if you ever need any, let me know. Or if you need help, if there's people on there that might want me to do, hey, Katie. She's one of my Picked and Polished girls. She knows all about this. If you guys ever want me to do like a live video or YouTube video on how to cut and design and all that, I might work towards that eventually because I am building my YouTube library. So if there's certain things you want to see me teach you or whatever, just shoot me a message or comment below, and then I'll know kind of what you guys are looking for content, and I can gear my blog posts and my YouTube videos towards the things that you really want to learn. So, excuse me. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I use sticky vinyl. What kind of sticky vinyl do I use? 631 is the kind of sticky vinyl I use. And this is a three-piece set. So it's got, yeah, Alicia, it's hard to get them to line up right without distorting and stretching. Do you mean the designs? Or do you mean like the actual stencil when you're laying it down? So this is a three-piece thing. So it's got a backing, which is the grid. Excuse me. It's got the sticky stencil layer, which is the vinyl, and that's what I actually do. The backing and the vinyl is what goes through the Cricut or your Silhouette machine. And then the top layer is after I pull. All these places that you see are white are areas that I weeded off, so pulled off, so that all those little pieces here that are sort of floating around by themselves have something to stick onto. Then I use my, hi Leah, hi Betty, then I use my transfer tape to apply over that. So I've got my three layers. I've got my backing, which comes with the sticky stencil vinyl. It's what your vinyl is stuck to. The stencil itself, which is the black. It comes in all different colors. Hi, Sally. And then you've got you weed it, and then you put your transfer tape on. And I can do a whole separate video about that. But I just want to show you how to apply it to wood, a wood surface or a painted surface, so that you can get a really cool design. Hi, Ellie. Hi, Kuklamu, my Greek soul sister. So This is also great, you guys. I've used these on galvanized buckets and all kinds of different things. So you can use it on fabric. Dixie Belle paint sticks to fabric and doesn't wash off. Believe me when I say it doesn't wash off, because I have it on every bit of clothing that I own. So this is something you can use not just for signs, but you could do this for pillows or fabric projects for the holidays, or for, hi Debbie, or for signs. I mean, there's just buckets, planters, just endless amount of possibilities. And when I do my designs, like when I do a pick your own sign workshop and people come and do workshops with me, they can send me a picture of a design and I'll create something that's as close to that image that they sent me as possible. So there's a lot of ways to get creative and create your own personalized designs for things. It'd be super cool if you could give a couple away since you make them. Then we can have a piece of, I can't. Fabulous Rita. Oh my gosh, Alicia, I love you. That's so sweet. That's a great idea. I should totally do that. A giveaway, a stencil giveaway. Give me a heart if you guys want me to do a stencil giveaway. Maybe I'll do that on my next live. Hi Debbie, thanks for tuning in. All right, so I'm gonna get going. I don't want you guys to have to wait. I know you're all busy. So I've got this. I'm gonna pull my camera down. Okay. So usually, is that crooked? Are you guys okay? I still want to be able to see you. So I usually just smooth it out and make sure you can use like a squeegee or something if you have it. Please ignore my dirty floor behind me. So I'm just going to go, and I'm going to make sure, especially these little pieces that are kind of floating by themselves, are really pressed onto the top layer, which is the transfer tape. Okay, and you'll see how this works. It's so simple, you guys. And this is why when people come to workshops or they order my stencils, they can do their own stuff at home, and they are so proud of the results that they get, because it's like a professional sign finish that you get when you use these. If you follow some simple tips, I'll show you how to get really clean lines. Okay, so then you flip it over, and I've got paint on my fingers, so then you flip it over and you've got your backing here, your sticky stencil, and your transfer tape on the other side. So the first step is to take your backing off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to put some pressure. Do you see I'm putting pressure here so that the layers don't come up? My goal is to get everything off of the backing. So I want my backing to be empty of any pieces of vinyl. So let's say I have a little piece that doesn't want to stick and it comes up onto here. It's no big deal. I'm just going to push this down and kind of rub it on and then pull back again. And it'll stick right on your transfer tape. Okay, so I'm just going to pull. I mean, this is how easy it is, you guys. And once you get the hang of it, the opportunities of what you can create with these sort of things are really limitless. All right, so there we go. I've got my sticky stencil and on my transfer tape here. So this part is sticky. You can see like my gross painty fingerprints that I'm leaving on it. Let me know if you have any questions too, you guys. Okay, then I'm going to lay it down on my sign board, and it's really important that you measure. Well, unless you really, it doesn't bother you if it's not centered. I usually measure. This is a custom order, so don't laugh. This is the only measuring tape I found. Although I've got 50 of them in my house, this is the only one I could find. So usually I look at like my first most important measurement usually is getting it centered horizontally, and then I think about the placement vertically. So for some reason that's easier for me. So I'll take like the last letter on the left and the one that's furthest out on the right, and make sure they're equidistant from the edges of your sign or your sign frame. So that's about an inch. My husband teases me because I use centimeters sometimes, and he's like, why? Why would you use centimeters? So that's about an inch out, and this one is not an inch out. This one's a little under. It's like 3/4. So that means I have to move it just a little bit. So the nice thing about the sticky stencil is it's sticky, but it won't, you can lift it back up if you don't press down on it. So you have there's some leeway. And anytime I cut my stencils, I always cut them so they're nice and even on the edges. So I'm working with, like, my eyes are working with even edges. Oh, the quote, thanks, Sally. It's true, isn't it? A day without coffee is like just kidding. I have no idea. That's me. I'm on a 2-cup. I'm a 2-cupper today. Okay. So that's pretty centered. And then I'm going to make sure that my bottom edge of my letters down here are equidistant from the bottom and from the top here too. Okay, because I just want to make sure it's about the same. It doesn't have to be exact. I definitely don't want my stencil like, so that's like 1 1/4, 1 1/4. Okay, I should be using just a ruler. That would be a lot easier. So same thing up here. I'm just going to make sure it's not like a crazy amount away. Let's see. I'm going to 1 1/4. Okay. So I think it's pretty good. I'm going to measure one more time because I get nervous. This is the part that I feel like I need to always. So I'm going to do it from this edge here. 5.5 centimeters. I know this isn't that exciting, but it's necessary. Okay, so now I know that we're all good. Okay, so now that I've got it all lined up and it's straight, I am just going to go ahead and smooth it out. Okay, and you're gonna just give it a little love, give it a little rub, especially like these little pieces here, the smaller pieces you want that are kind of floating around by themselves. You want to really make sure those are stuck to the board. Now once I do this, it's going to be hard for me to lift this up and move it. So before you do this part, you really want to make sure your stencil is exactly where you want it to be. Okay? Alright, so then I usually pull from an angle. So I'll take the corner here. Can you guys see that? I'm going to lift this corner. And again, I'm going to put pressure where I start to pull. I'm going to kind of pull it diagonally. Okay? Diagonally this way. If it starts to lift up, I'm not going to freak out. I'm just going to like push it down. It's not a big deal. And then now I'm at the point where I kind of have to pull it straight. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I try not to let this get balled up and touch on this because that'll make it harder for you to pull off the transfer tape. So let's say this little piece of the G, I'm going to just pretend that it's not working the way I want it to so you guys can see. Let's say that comes up and doesn't stay down. It's not a big deal. I'm just going to rub it down like that and go back over and pull. Okay? Alright, so see how easy that is, you guys? Okay, so then here is, you should try it, Betty. It is easy, honestly. You can get any stencils you want from me, or you can send me pictures. I can send them out in the mail. I send a screenshot of what your design looks like for approval before I cut it, and then it's ready to go. And I think I have some on my website, but I don't know. But they can be customized anyway. Or if you have a Cricut, this is really good for people that have a Cricut at home or a Silhouette, because then they can do it themselves. So this frame, in case you're wondering, is espresso gel stain. This color is drop cloth. And I use like an angled brush. This brush has a little bit of an angle to it to paint the edges. I tape this off when I do my stain, but then when I go to paint, I just take my brush and carefully go along the edge. But it has to be the right kind of brush, or otherwise you're going to get paint all over your frame. So let me know if you're watching. Give me a heart or share this video if you want to see me give away a stencil the next time we do that. That was Alicia's idea. That was a really good idea, Alicia. Thank you for that. Okay. So I'm just I use my black sticky vinyl as my palette to push the paint around. So then you just want to make sure that you've got all your all your vinyl is stuck really well, because anywhere there's a little opening is where paint's going to get under. And again, if it bleeds, it's okay. You can go back and fix it. I'll show you how to do that part. So I always recommend, highly recommend using a dry brush, because the more, whoops, my chests are showing. My girls call them chestises. I use a dry brush because anytime you get more liquid in your paint, it's going to leak underneath the stencil more easily. So, drier brush, very, very, very little paint. And I always plan on going over it twice, okay? Yes, I did this on the Cricut, Debbie. Thanks for asking. And I just kind of pat like that and then feather. And again, you guys, very little paint. If you use too much paint, you're gonna have bleed through issues. So see how it might not be covering exactly as dark as I want it to, and that's okay, because I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go over it again, and so that'll prevent the bleeding underneath the stencil. Okay, so I just dab and feather. I made up a dance for that for my workshop. Dab and feather. Okay. And I'm going to do coffee, the word coffee, in a different color. So I'll just do this. This is in the Caviar Black by Dixie Belle. And that's the reason why I prefer using the Dixie Belle for my signs over like an acrylic, just a regular acrylic paint, is it's thicker and it bleeds way less. And it goes such a long way. You'll see you only need a few drops for a whole sign to do the lettering. So you could get one jar of caviar and have it forever and get tons and tons of signs out of it, if that's your lettering color. Do you ever use Mod Podge so you don't bleeding? Oh, I'm glad you asked that, Debbie. So what I do sometimes instead of the Mod Podge, because I really can't stand the way it smells, it just bothers me. So I've decided, I started using the Dixie Belle Clear Coat. You can use flat or satin, either one is fine, and that works the same way. It seals your stencil. So what she's saying is, oh shoot, I shouldn't have done that in black. That's okay. I'm glad I messed up in front of you guys, because you can see how easy it is to fix. So I'm just going to kind of dab some of this. I got talking. So I'm just going to kind of dab some of that black off, and I'm just going to go over it with the color that I want it to be. It's not a big deal. I don't get in a panic about this kind of stuff, because it should be enjoyable. Okay, so I want it to come out beautiful, but there's always a way to fix it, so you don't really have to worry if something gets messed up. And so what Debbie's asking is, some people use Mod Podge to seal, like before they start painting their stencil, they'll go over all the lettering with Mod Podge. I go, if I'm worried about bleed through, like if it's on barnwood or something that's not smooth, and I think I might get some bleed through, I will use the Satin Clear Coat. However, this type of stencil really adheres well to flat surfaces, so I don't worry too much about it. Barnwood's a different story, because that is bumpier and it's harder to create crisper lines on barnwood because of the way that it's, you know, not as level up and smooth of a surface. So do you guys see how I'm just kind of tapping it lightly, and I'm not pushing it in up and down, because then you're going to get paint in your edges. And it's rare that you do a sign and you don't have any touch-ups to do. So that's another thing I want to tell you. I mean, I do signs almost every single day, because I have, especially this time of year, I'm working on them constantly. And it's rare that I don't have to do a little bit of touching up. But again, if you have the right little brushes on hand, I usually use the micro brushes, you can do touch-ups in a snap, and you'd never know you had any bleed through. So I just tap. So again, I'm not using very little paint on my brush, you guys. If you can see a glob of paint on your brush, you're using too much paint. Ever use Mod Podge? Okay. Let me know if you have any more questions. The other nice thing about the Dixie Belle is that it dries super quick. So by the time, like this is already dry, so I can go back up here and do my second coat in a jiffy. So I don't have to worry about like letting it sit for an hour before I go back over for my second coat. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. And then I will get the coffee section done. And when I'm done with that, I'll pull it up and you guys can see what it looks like. So here we go. I feel like I should have music playing. It's too quiet in here. All right, so now again, I'm going to go right over my initial layer. Do you guys see this up here? How it's already dry, but it's not quite as dark as I want it to be. So instead of going super thick with my first layer, watch how quick the second layer goes on. I mean, really, you guys, it's worth doing 2 thin layers to get the finish that you want, like the crisp lines that you want, rather than trying to go do it really, really fast with one sloppy thick layer. Do 2 really light layers and you'll have a better results. Less is more when you're stenciling with paint, I think. Especially for signs with like intricate designs and things like that. The smaller the fonts are, the more careful you need to be about that. So, just gonna see, I'm already, look how quick this is. I'm already almost done with my second coat. And then I'm just going to go over the coffee, the word coffee, and some people use a sealer before putting the stencil down. Yes, that's what I've just was talking about. Yeah. So I don't do that all the time because these stencils that I use, that I cut, really do a nice job of keeping the edges sealed if you use the right amount of paint. If you're going to go crazy with paint, then you might have some problems. And yes, you might want to, if you're heavy-handed with the paint when you're stenciling, you might want to consider sealing it with a satin clear coat or the flat Dixie Belle clear coat first. And anywhere like right here, I have this like tiny little bubble. That's where the likelihood of bleeding might happen. But it's okay. If I have a little bit, I'm not going to worry. I'll go back and I'll touch it up and I'll show you how I do that. But the, excuse me, the less I have to do that, the better. So Betty, this is 631 stencil vinyl. It's what I use in my sign workshops. And people really are always so happy with the outcome of their products when they leave those workshops. They tend to feel like super proud, and they get a really beautiful sign when they leave. So this is the vinyl that I would recommend. I used to use a different kind, and I liked it okay, but this one's a little bit better, I think. Okay. So I'm done with the black. I'm just going to rinse off my brush. And I'm going to go over the coffee. I think I'm going to use the sandbar for that. Do you see where I got a little black? I just pulled it up a little bit, and actually I can put it right here. So I'm going to go ahead. That's way too light. So I'm going to use the dried sage. Whoops, I should have opened this before. Let's see how the dried sage does on this. And then I may go over that with burlap too later. Let me do some layering. Yeah, that's too light. I think that one's too light too. I might grab the burlap. I feel like that would be dark enough. I'm going to do the whole thing in dried sage and then go over it with the burlap to give it kind of like a little layered effect. It's what I've done on the ones I've done before, so I'll go ahead and do that with this one. All right. I'm actually going to let that dry. I'm going to scoop my extra back into my jar. All right. So while that's drying, I just want to show you guys how you would peel this up. I'm going to go back and go over this with a darker brown. But I wanted to give it a little bit of like a layered look, so I started with a lighter color, and then I'm going to go back over it with the burlap. But because I don't want you guys waiting for me, I'm going to show you just how easy this is. So my black is just about dry. It's not totally dry yet, but usually I let it dry most of the way. If it's still a little bit tacky, it's probably okay to start peeling up. You just have to be careful. So I'm going to go ahead and start peeling this up. This is the most satisfying part, you guys. So here we go. All right. All right, so I'm going to stick that down. You guys see how nice and crisp that came out? So now you just have, I always let these dry really, really well. These are all those little itty bitty pieces that are inside the letter. And then I go back and I just pull those off, okay? I don't use tweezers because when I've done that with workshops, people tend to gouge the wood and chip the paint. So you can use little tweezers or tools to weed those areas, but I tend to just use my fingernail and pull them up. But definitely wait until your paint is dry before you start doing that. So when this is done, you'll see, I mean, look how crisp those lines are, you guys, right? The stencil sticks really, really well. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. I'll post a picture of it finished so you guys can see. But do you guys have any questions for me today about using the sticky stencils or anything like that? Just shoot me a message or comment in the link, in the thread below this video, and I'd be happy to help you. And like I said, I'll post a picture of the finished product so you can see how nice and crisp those lines are when they're done. And some people had suggested that they would like to see a tutorial maybe on how to design stencils or how to use the Cricut, or even maybe how to weed the stencils and put the transfer tape on. So if you want to see more of that stuff, please let me know, because I'm working on packing my blog and my YouTube channel with lots of great content for you. So yeah, so let me know if I can help. I hope you guys have an awesome, awesome day. Be sure to like, share, and comment on this video if it was of some help to you. Okay? All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.